first preseason game at FedEx Field for the Washington Commanders as they host a team right up I-95, the Baltimore Ravens. This is a live look at the field on the only Commanders pregame show, and we're taking you up to kickoff here on Command Center Game Day Live. How you doing, everyone? Michael Jenkins here with the Cowboy Killer, Santana Moss, which has to be the coolest nickname ever, by the way.
You know, it is. And one of the things that's cool about it, it was given to me. You know what I mean?
You didn't make it up yourself.
I didn't have to make
right.
it up myself. These lovely fans say, this is what we're going to name you, and I can't go nowhere without them calling that. So hats off to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Salute, but it's football season.
It is football season, and the fans want to see a lot of different things tonight.
Yeah.
What do you want to see?
I want to see a lot. I think one of the biggest things I want to see is just as a whole. You know, I'm big on the team. I want to see the team have no drop-off. Regardless of who you are on the field today, whether you the ones, the twos, the threes, or maybe the guys that's on the bubble, I want to see no drop-off. I want to see these guys go out there and look efficient like a team. That's something that we've been seeing in the practices, and I wanted to carry over to the field. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys play today when they get the opportunity.
I'm well aware it's a preseason, but it's still Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
What is it about Monday Night Football that makes it special?
Well, one, I'm going to tell you this. I always hated Monday Night Football.
Really?
You might think that's odd, but you take forever to play the game.
True.
You know, I waited the whole week to go out there and play. But when it finally got here, I knew it was time to go. You got the lights on you. It's prime time. You got somebody in that booth that's famous that either played the game or just a famous caller, especially back in the day when John Madden was calling those games.
Yeah.
So it was always one of those games that you say you circled, but you knew it's going to take a while leading up to that game, but you wanted to make sure you play your best, whether it's preseason or regular season.
Some of these guys are entrenched. Some of these guys are fighting for their jobs. What are some of the individual matchups you're looking at?
Well, some of the individual matchups I'm looking at, it's not necessarily, you know, that guy and the guy across from him. It's just seeing some of our guys excel. I want to see some of these guys that's going to get an opportunity to see if they have what it takes to be on this team. You know, I'm looking at our receivers.
Yeah.
You know, I will sit up here and talk receiver because of, you know, what I know best. But we have a slew of guys that can really possibly make this team or someone else's team. So I want to see how we go, how deep we go when it comes to having these guys on our roster. I think we have a guy in Cashmere Island that I'm looking forward to today. I think we have another guy in, you know, Byron Pringle, who's shown that, hey, maybe I could be that fifth or fourth guy. Who
and he knows the offense.
And De'Ami Brown, he's shown this year 3, and he's better than ever. So I'm looking to see all these guys carry over everything that they displayed throughout the week, throughout preseason practices, onto the field today.
This is when you have to make tough decisions as a head coach, even in the preseason, because how long do you play your starters? You don't want them to be injured, but they need reps, you know?
Mike, I always played. Look, like, you hear so much throughout the week, like, man, we're trying to get these guys to the regular season.
Yeah.
True, I'm with you with that.
Right.
But I can honestly tell you, in 14 years, I played every preseason.
Did you really?
14 years. The only preseason I didn't play was my first preseason when I got injured before the preseason even started. But all the rest of the 13 years, I played every preseason. So I'm looking forward to seeing guys, if you're out there, strut your stuff. If you're not, eat your sunflower seeds, eat your hot dogs, cheer the other guys on. But I don't really get caught up into the, you know, the hoopla of should we play these guys or should we not?
Right. See, this is how I know we're close to the regular season, because you're talking about sunflower seeds already. That's your thing. Well, one guy who needs some sunflower seeds and also needs the reps is a guy that everyone will be watching tonight if you're talking about the starters, and of course, that is the QB1, Sam Howell, officially named the starter early this week, even though we knew he was going to be the guy. Ron Rivera making that announcement on Friday morning. He has been the QB1 throughout training camp. Now he gets to start against the Cardinals in week 1, so another huge step in the growth out of the second-year man in North Carolina. Here's the head coach and Sam after the announcement was made.
I talked with Eric Bieniemy and Tavita yesterday, and after our first preseason game, after both those joint practices, I'm going to name Sam our starter this year going forward. You know, he's basically met the challenge that we talked about, and that was seeing the growth and improvement from OTAs and minicamp, and then talked about going into training camp and continue to grow and show us what he's capable of. And we've been very pleased with it, to the point where I decided yesterday that we were going to name him the starter going into the regular season.
Shout out to Coach Rivera for just believing in me and always trusting me really since I got here. You know, so I just shout out to him. And just all my coaches, you know, EB, Tavita, Zampezi, just Luke, all the guys, Jacoby. There's been so many guys here that have helped me in my development and my career. that have ultimately led to the position I'm in today. So really just a shout out to all those guys.
We will see Sam Howell out on the field for the Commanders' second game of the preseason from here at FedEx Field with kickoff set for 8 o'clock on ESPN. So we heard from the head coach. We knew this was coming, but what did you think when you finally heard the news? We've been waiting on it like Christmas.
Well, you know, Ron, he's not going to let the cat out the bag, and he was holding off, and everyone was in the, you heard talk radio, sports talk weekly or every day of the week just talking about the same darn thing, knowing that Sam is the guy. He's the guy. We brought Brissett in here to be that kind of tutor, veteran that can, that we can lean on if we need. So I was happy to hear Ron finally make the decision, but it was like one of those things, it's a no-brainer.
It's exciting, but there is work to be done. What do you want to see out of him tonight?
Well, I just want to see Sam be efficient. I think whether he play or not, anytime he get an opportunity when it doesn't count, like these preseason games, just go out there and be productive with what you're given. Allow the game to flow to you. Don't try to do too much. I think when you saw last week, we had 2 series from him where he did just that. As soon as we got into that penalty trouble, we got a penalty, then, he got sacked, and then things went, ape crap. So I just want to see a guy that can go out there, be confident, be poised, and allow things to flow to him.
You want to see progression from a young guy throughout, whether it's OTAs, training camp, joint practices. Have you seen enough of that?
I've seen it. I mean, honestly, man, you wouldn't even think that he's a rookie because he's still a rookie. People fail to realize, no, Sam is in his second year. Until he played 4 games this year, he's still considered a rookie. That's what the vets told me when I was a young buck. So I'm going to treat it how I was always, told. I think after 4 games, now we can say, okay, now it's time to take that rookie, shirt off you. But he's shown that he has that mentality that he's been here before. And that's some of the things I saw last year in the preseason, and it carried over all the way into the last game of the season last year against the Cowboys. So he's a poised guy. He can do a lot. He's very confident. I'm looking forward to him whenever he get his opportunity, whether he get a lot tonight or not, to go out there and do his thing.
All eyes are going to be on him whenever he is on the field warming up. We're going to show it to you here at FedEx Field as we get ready for this Monday Night Football matchup with the Ravens. Sam, as we know, has some really dangerous weapons at his disposal, including one very, very dangerous one who goes by the name of Terry McLaurin. Let's check out today's Air Power presented by the Air National Guard, proud partner of the Washington Commanders. And we got to give you a look at Terry showing out and just showcasing everything he can do. Did this during training camp. He's also been very complimentary of Sam Howell and his development, so hopefully we get these guys connecting tonight in prime time. Here's what Terry has done during his short career with the Burgundy Gold, and now he's becoming that veteran presence, right? Through 4 seasons, 21 touchdowns receiving. Last season, arguably his best yet, with McLaurin racking up 77 catches for almost 1,200 yards and a well-deserved trip to the Pro Bowl. He caught up with us after practice during training camp, so check this out.
What does it mean to you to have the fans support you the way they've supported you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great since I've gotten here, the way they've embraced me. The way they've embraced our team as things have gone on, and now to see that we're moving in the right direction, have all this momentum going. It's great to see them out here each and every practice, and I know they're going to sell out the stadium come fall. So it's fun to come out here and interact with them. Get to meet everybody. It's nice to sign whatever you got to sign for them, and just be personable because they don't have to come out here and support us with their time, but they do anyway. So not just myself, but I know my entire teammates, we appreciate their support, and we're going to need them this season.
This past season, coming off making your first Pro Bowl season, 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season, and then you made the NFL Top 100. This offseason, what did you go into thinking, hey, what areas would you like to improve on?
Yeah, I think I just want to be that deep threat guy for our offense. I feel like that's something that I showed in spurts last year, but I think consistently we could put that on tape a lot more, and that starts with myself. Sam does a great job of throwing the deep ball, so he's made it really easy. We connected out there today, so we just want to continue to put those reps in the bank, and when they show up in games, you want to hit those big plays because those are game changers, those are drive changers, and it forces the defense to respect the vertical pass game, which I feel like it'll open up everything else underneath. So that's just been my mindset, winning at the line, stacking the defender, and holding the red line so I could give the quarterback, plenty of space to throw the ball.
Yeah, you mentioned this offense, and this is the new offense. It's Eric Bieniemy's offense. How do you see the offense kind of gelling so far? You got Sam Howell, he'll be the new quarterback, offensive line. You got 4 new starters there. What do you see the difference with this year's offense and last year's offense?
Definitely, I think one thing that stands out is the tempo of how we're practicing and how we're preparing to play. I think that's really, one, getting us in condition, and 2, allowing us to assess what's going on at the line, not spending as much time in the huddle. I think that's going to be really key for us to keep defenses on their heels and being able to always be in attack mode. And then I think just the versatility of the players that we have in the skill positions, not only myself, but Dayami, Kurt, Jahan, AG, B-Rob, the tight ends with Logan and all those guys. It's been great. You know, everybody's moving around in different positions. Everybody's getting a chance to run individual routes backside, you know what I mean, bunch formation. So I think it really helps with the clarity of the offense, because you're not just focusing on one spot. I'm not just focusing on the X, but multiple positions. It allows you to get a feel of the entire offense because it's predicated on timing and space. And so when you can kind of be moved around and understand everything conceptually, it makes the plays make more sense to you.
I appreciate it.
Terry and the Commanders offense getting ready for the Baltimore Ravens after they got some reps together during joint practices last week. Back with Santana Moss now, and we got to talk about this receiving core. How important is the preseason for developing chemistry, especially when I feel like we always talk about Sam Howell like he's a veteran.
Yeah.
He is not, even though he got that one regular season game last year.
You know, it differs. I remember being a guy that played with Mark Brunell my first year here. We didn't have a rep together during the preseason. I knew of Mark Brunell growing up, but, you know, I was a young buck in Florida watching him with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But when I got here in that training camp my first year here, didn't take a rep with him. Come in this first game of the season, our quarterback goes out, Patrick Ramsey, and Mark struts in, and it was like a match made in heaven with me and him. Yeah. So it all, you know, varies to who you are as a player, but I believe when you have your guy here, those reps are vital. You know, you have to make sure that you're getting enough of them. You have to make sure that when you're in the game with him, that you're running the routes, you're communicating with him, seeing he's going to tell you where he wants you at on certain routes and certain formations, things like that. But I think those reps are very vital, and I know that these guys been getting a lot of them because they've all been healthy enough to go out there and practice with them every day.
That's one layer to the chemistry, and the other layer is there is a new offensive install here, so that's another thing that they have to come together on the same page on.
It's always hard. Now, that's the toughest thing ever in the world. I played with a lot of different offenses, and it's it's hard getting that new terminology and just trying to perfect what you're doing, but at the same time know everything around you, you know? And one of the things that's players, certain players learn differently. I'm a guy that I will always go and make sure I knew my job first. And then as I get comfortable with that, I will move on to knowing the guy inside of me or the guy on the other side of me who's playing my position or a position I may play one day, you know, they might swap me or flex me. So, but it's always hard to kind of learn that new stuff and at the same time build that chemistry. So that's a tough task. And it's been, you know, so far so good. You see these guys connected in practice, and you see these guys, you know, in that scrimmage against the Ravens, you know, throughout the week. Those guys displayed some great plays and did some great things. So it's going to be interesting just to see how much they grasp come week 1.
We've been looking at live pictures of Jahan Dotson out in the field getting ready for this matchup tonight on Monday Night Football. But really, when you look at the strengths of this team, Dotson and that receiving core is one of them. So who are some of the guys maybe not at the tippy top of the depth chart that you're looking out for tonight?
Well, you know, you got Terry, Dotson, Samuels, and it don't matter what order you want to put those guys in. Then you say fourth guy, who's kind of been leading enough. You can say Byron Pringle, knowing that he coming from Kansas City, knowing this offense, but De'Ami Brown has really showed, you know, some maturity, you know, this third year. So to me, I think he's the 4th guy. Then you might have Pringle or Dax Mim, who knows, you know. But down the list, you got Cashmere Allen, you got Tinsley, you got a lot of guys that's going to be fighting. But it's great because nowadays you can have guys on your practice squad. So a lot of those young guys, if you're a rookie or a second-year guy, you get a chance to still be a part of this team if you don't make the squad. If you show these coaches enough, you could be one of those guys that get a chance to be on the practice squad as long as you can do something else for the team. Now, if you're not one of those first 3 guys, you have to be special in special teams in order to make the squad. So guys like Cashmere Allen, guys like Dax Mim, Tinsley, all those guys, even Pringle. Pringle plays a lot of special teams. Those guys are going to get their spot because they can do multiple things.
Well, we got to continue talking about this offense. That's what we're going to do after the break. In fact, we're going to go back up to Owings Mills and recap joint practices, which we saw last week. We're going to catch up with our captain, London Fletcher, who spent some time there with both teams. You're watching Command Center Game Day Live with non-stop live pictures from FedEx Field. We're going to keep them up for you during this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Dad, we're going to be late.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
In-play betting, because a lot can happen in 4 quarters. You can wager on the spread, game props, player props, totals, and the money line. Bet365 is the world's favorite sports book for many reasons. In-play betting is just one of them.
Are you on your way?
Yep, coming.
And Mom and Dad?
Don't worry, they'll be there.
Happy anniversary!
Go beyond the expected with the #1 most dependable mass market brand 3 years in a row by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
One bag.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck. Tensions were high. Luckily, replacement costumes were shipped with FedEx, which means Mr. Harvey could picture the perfect night. We're ready for the holidays, so you're ready for what's next.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
This might bang a bang a bang a bang a dang dang. Bring the pain, ayy. Keep fighting the queen 'cause it go down. Keep fighting the receipt the diamonds. Keep fighting for the grit, you'll hear that. Let's go, Dave.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live, and this is a live picture of FedEx Field where the Commanders are gearing up for Monday Night Football tonight against the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams, of course, went head-to-head last week during joint practices, so let's hear from some of the guys about their time in Owings Mills.
You know, that's a good football team that they go up against. They got a tremendous scheme, and I thought our guys handled it. I thought they adjusted really well to some of the things that went on. We got beat a couple times, but a couple times we did some really good things that we could really hang our hat on. A lot of improvement. Very pleased with the play of the quarterback. So I thought Sam did a great job. You know, this is one of the things that we talked about, how important that these two days would be in our evaluation process. You know, and there's a lot of questions we wanted answered. And, you know, yesterday's tape I was really pleased with, for not just the quarterbacks, for him specifically as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great opportunity to come out here and practice against a good team, a good defense. They do a really good job, and over here in Baltimore, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So it was a great opportunity for us as an offense to come out here and get better and, you know, just try to show what we can do and just try to, if we do make mistakes, learn from those mistakes. And I thought it was a good 2 days for us as a group. I was very pleased with the stuff we were able to put on tape. So I feel good coming out of here.
Yeah, it's fun. I love competing, man, and it's fun going against a different team too. You go against each other for so long, you know. I mean, you kind of get familiar with your teammates. They get familiar with what you do. When you come out here against another team, it's good to have a measuring stick of how you've made it up into this point in camp.
What a week it has been with our neighbors from Baltimore. And I say neighbors as the Ravens take the field. We hear
cousins,
boos,
man. They are cousins.
coming from the stands. They're the cousins. We're taking you up to kickoff at 8 o'clock over on ESPN with live pictures of tonight's warm-ups. Michael Jenkins back here with Santana Moss. So what is the benefit? What do you get from a joint practice?
I mean, they might not like to hear, you know, how I look at things when it comes to joint practices. Joint practice is cool. Yeah? This is from a player perspective. Yeah. You know, you get a chance to see somebody else. I'm pretty sure the linemen, those D linemen, those offensive linemen, they love going against somebody else instead of your own guy. But as a receiver, I don't want to give too many people my juice. You know, I don't want them to see what I have going on in practice, especially if I have to play them later on that week in a preseason game. So it's cool. I think joint practices are great for, you know, the coaching staff to really sit there and kind of, you know, judge or gather information on your players, putting them in situations in a practice environment to see how they will perform in a game. But as a player, I never liked them. I took advantage of them, just knowing I had to do them. But if I got to play you later on in the week, I need to save something somewhere. You know what I mean? How many days, you know, how much can I save when I got to go out here and try to beat you regardless?
So this is interesting. If you're a young guy, you got to give everything every play. But for someone like you, a veteran, you know your place in the team. You held back a little bit and then let it all hang loose on a Monday night of the next game.
It's hard to hold back, so you're going to go out there and stretch your stuff. And I say that time after time. But I think one of the things you got to take under consideration, know who you're going up against. You know, if you got a guy out there, he's a young buck, he might not know everything. He might not be a great film watcher. You go out there and show him something. But you got to be careful because you're putting it on tape, and you're going to have to show it up again. I was always one of those guys, I ran the routes that I knew that primarily I could beat you on. Because in the game, I don't want to show you some of that stuff that I'm gonna do extra in the game on certain routes. But like I said, I can't hate on the joint practices. It's great for the coaching staff because they need to sit there and kind of gather that information on their players, who they have, who they can trust. But as a player, man, I was just ready to get through with it. You know, let's go ahead and get it done and get out of there healthy so we can see these guys in the preseason game.
Well, every player has his own perspective. Certainly our London Fletcher, the captain, has his perspective. He was in Maryland last week, so it is time for the best seat in the house presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Commanders. London, what did you take away from watching those joint practices?
Thanks, guys. I got an opportunity to watch both of the joint practices against the Baltimore Ravens, and I thought we went up to Baltimore and went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the National Football League. You look at Baltimore, and over the last 5 seasons, they've made the playoffs 4 times. They've been one of the winningest teams during that span. And we went up there, we matched their physicality, we matched their intensity, and in some cases, we set the physical tone and intensity in some of the drills. I thought our offensive line benefited greatly from going against this Ravens defensive front. Their 3-4 defense, something totally different from what we see on a regular day in practice. I thought the individual offensive linemen, they got some great work, whether it was Andrew Wiley and Charles Leno going against the edge rushers of the Baltimore Ravens, or our 3 interior linemen working in tandem against those big, massive defensive linemen that the Baltimore Ravens present to us. When I look at it on the flip side from a defensive standpoint, our secondary, our young guys got challenged by the great receivers that the Baltimore Ravens have, and they stood their own. Emmanuel Forbes, he really stood out in some of his one-on-one matchups and also during the team periods. So those were things that really stood out to me. The main thing, I thought all in all, those 2 days, those joint practices was a great opportunity for us to get some great work against one of the better teams in the National Football League. Back to you guys.
Thank you, London. When we come back, we are talking all things defense, and we'll look ahead to the opening game of the regular season as this proud franchise kicks off a new era. It is Command Center Game Day Live, the only Commanders pregame show, and the only one that gives you a continuous look at the team getting ready for action. We're coming right back, but we will keep that camera up for you the entire time. Stay here.
Dude. Fire. Grill master, huh?
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Summer won't last forever, but during Toyota's national sales event, you can make memories that will.
Come on. There you go.
Whoa.
Where's my mom? Just be in the moment.
Buy a RAV4 with special financing as low as 3.99%. Or pick a spacious Highlander with as low as 3.49% on select models. Toyota, let's go places.
Football is back, and that means touchdown for toppings at Paisanos. When the Washington Commanders score, you score all season long. The day after the game, get free toppings for every touchdown the Commanders score. If they score 3 touchdowns, you get 3 free toppings. It's that simple. So let's all support the Burgundy and Gold, because more touchdowns equals more toppings. And who doesn't love free toppings? View this and more online at paisanospizza.com.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
It's 4th down, seconds on the clock. He hands it off, finds a hole in the middle. Clear, nothing but Brian, move! Incredible! A touchdown for the win. I can't believe it!
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back into Command Center Game Day Live. We are at FedEx Field getting ready for preseason game number 2 with the Burgundy and Gold hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Michael Jenkins back with you and Santana Moss. So we got to switch sides now. Let's talk about the defense. What did you see in the first preseason game from that D-line or just the defense as a whole that impressed you?
You know, I think a defense as a whole, if you want to talk about the D-line first, that first series or 2, it kind of gave you deja vu of how they played last year when it came to quarterbacks that can get a little jiggy with it outside the pocket.
Yep.
I was kind of like, I wasn't pleased with what I saw.
Yeah.
But what they did, what they showed me was, even though they bend a little bit, they didn't break. And they found a way to get out of that series and not give up any points. So that was big. But I think as a whole, I was impressed with the secondary play.
Yeah.
Especially those twos. Danny Johnson, Christian Holmes, Butler. All those guys showed up, man. They was out there making plays, and that's big because I think when you have a front the way we have, and not only the guys that we talk about the most, and Chase and all those guys, those guys that come in further, those guys that sub in for them, we have 2 fronts that can go out there and really play big. So when you need that great secondary play. And I tell guys all the time, you know, people say, who was the toughest corner you went against? I'm like, whatever team had a great defensive pass rush, and we have that. So our corners should be primed and ready for a lot of opportunities in that secondary to get some turnovers.
First-round picks, you never know how those guys are going to pan out. But Emmanuel Forbes Jr. has looked great, and I know if Smoot were here, he'd be losing his mind right now, but he has lived up to the billing.
Yes, I mean, look, Smoot said it, and you got to give him his credit. I mean, when credit's due. We was talking about guys who we predict that was going to probably be drafted by us, and I had cornerbacks in mind. We always talking kind of cornerback, but Fred from day one was talking about this kid.
Was always on him.
And don't get me wrong, I peeked and watched a couple of his highlights on his film, and he showed some flashes. But the thing that impressed me most, just being a ball hawk, being around that football, the amount of pick sixes he had. When I saw his size, like everybody, I was skeptical. I was like, man, I don't know how that would measure up against the guys in this, on this level. And can he take the pounding? And Smoot assured me, look, I was a small guy. I was a guy that was, puny and still was able to manage and go out here and play great in this level or this league. So he's been everything that we thought he was going to be coming into the draft, man. I mean, he's out there immediately, thrown into the fire, and certain guys, you just see that it factor, and he has that. He has the it factor about him. I can't wait to see him play in a live game.
As a whole, what do you want to see from this defense? We focus on the offense and the chemistry between Sam Howell and the receivers, the O-line, but what about this defense?
Defense, I want to see him get off the field. I mean, that's first and foremost. When you can get off the field as a defense, that gives your offense time to be special. And I think our defense has been known for doing that. Like, you think about adding last year and the year before. They, especially last year, like after the first couple of games when they found their rhythm, they was getting off the field. It was up to us to go out there and score points, and we had a problem with doing that. So I want to see that same kind of performance from our defense this year. I know it's preseason, but I still want to see those guys, like I said before, I want to see that second and them third guys and those bubble guys to come in with no drop-offs, because it's not all about just who you have playing. It's about who's coaching you. And if they all have that same message, then they should all go out there and be able to play like that.
One guy who certainly knows defense is our captain, London Fletcher, one of the greats at linebacker. London, I know you've been watching this defense closely. What are you expecting tonight?
Thanks, guys. As we talk about this defense, a unit that finished number 3 in the National Football League a season ago, I expect them to be even better this year. When you look at some of the additions they went out and added, they got a healthy Chase Young coming back, and he has looked phenomenal so far in training camp. Going out and adding Emmanuel Forbes and his ability to take away the football. When you look at our defense, we had top 5 and top 10 rankings in a lot of categories. The one where we were down in the lower rankings, it was our inability to take away the football. You see the concerted effort to go out and get guys to take away the football. Forbes with the first-round pick. Quan Martin with the second-round pick. When you look at this defensive front, we have the ability to dictate the terms of the agreement. We can impose our will on offenses. When you look at all the different guys we have on that front, we know about all of the first-round draft picks. I think Jamin Davis would be better in his 3rd year as a starter on that defense, going out and adding the athleticism of a Cody Barton and what he brings to the table. When I look at this defense, I know the sky's the limit and there's nothing we can't do. We will win a bunch of ball games. All right, guys, back to you.
Thank you, London. The man definitely knows what he's talking about. And here's a look at the defensive leaders in that first preseason game against the Browns. Linebacker Khalid Hudson led the team with 6 tackles. Second-year corner Christian Holmes looked impressive, had 2 passes defended. And another 22 draft pick, Percy Butler, came up with a nice interception in that one as well. Washington currently warming up for tonight's game, and we've got your live pictures here on the only Commanders pregame show in town. Before we go to break, let's take a look at your game day forecast presented by NBC4. We're working for you, and finally, it's starting to cool down as we look at the Command Center Doppler 9000. It really is a very nice night for football here in Landover. Even though it's a bit toasty, expecting a temperature of 88 degrees at kickoff, but no rain to worry about, thankfully, which we saw that delay caused by the showers last week in Cleveland. We are not done yet. When we come back, I'm getting Santana's keys to Monday Night Football. It is a preseason game, but you want to win. That is next on Command Center Game Day Live, the only Commanders pregame show which has your field pass to the action. We're not going to let you miss a thing, even during this commercial break. Stay right there.
The design is stunning. The power, breathtaking. Turbocharged to chase down dreams. With an instant top prize of $50,000. And a second chance top prize of $150,000. More than enough to buy a real Corvette. The new 2023 Corvette Cash Scratch-Off from the Maryland Lottery. Take it for a ride.
Hey, it's me, food. I'm so much more than just what we eat. I'm hand-cut, fresh and frosted. Aw, I love you too. See, life is always something new. All messy, frantic, and amazing. And from where I sit, you look delicious. That's why every day is worth celebrating. If you can. Stay fresh. Sincerely, food. Sincerely, Safeway.
Hey, big man. Hey. Dave told me you got some kind of great system for betting that really works.
It's true.
What is it? Is it like home dogs? No. It's bird mascots.
No, I just use FanDuel's responsible gaming tools like time and spending limits to manage my play.
That's the system.
Hasn't failed me yet.
Cool. You know what, man? I'm just gonna keep this between you and me.
It's not a secret, Bob.
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours. It's more fun that way.
You're going to like this story because it's about you. You who forgot to charge your phone last night. You who sprints to the boarding line so your bag will fit. You with him. Until one day you boarded a United plane that was designed for, well, you. And your phone got charged, your bag fit. So did everyone else's, but this story isn't about them. Your toddler didn't tantrum and you got to fly happily ever after. The end.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live as we take you up to kickoff on the only Commanders pregame show in town. Where else would you rather be on this gorgeous Monday night? And let's gear up for Kickoff, presented by Fanatics. The Commanders team score is a Fanatics experience. You got to check out some of these items available. Look at this.
Got, man?
I got right here.
Some goodies, huh?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get it out of the back. Yeah. Jahan Dotson. Got the one jersey right here.
The one and only.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a QR code up on the screen. So if you're in attendance, you can head by the team store, get whatever you like. If you're sitting watching this right now on YouTube, X, Facebook, whatever, grab that QR card, and you can order whatever you like from the team store as well. You know what I always think of when I see this is these single numbers?
Yeah.
Would you have played with your college number back in the day?
You got to be a mad man. Look, one of the things you
look at that bad boy.
On the other end. You have to be a bad man to wear these single digits, man. And of course I would have played with that 6. That 6 made you, it's like you had superhero powers when you put on those single digits.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I tell you all the time. When guys give you nicknames and give you single digit jersey numbers, that means you're special. And that's what 6 was for me. It was given to me in college. I didn't say I wanted to be number 6. They gave it to me, and big things happened.
It certainly did for you. And for a lot of guys who are brave enough to wear a single digit, again, check out the QR code, X, YouTube, Facebook, and you can go to the team store as we speak. Well, we are getting closer to the 2023 regular season, finally. And you can help get FedEx Field rocking for the team's opener against the Cardinals on Sunday, September 10th. It all gets started at 1 in the afternoon. Get your tickets now at commanders.com/tickets. Of course, we still have 2 more preseason games remaining before we kick things off against Arizona in Week 1. But up next, it is the Baltimore Ravens in the Battle of the Beltways. As we get closer to kickoff here at FedEx Field, that means it is time for your starting lineups delivered by Grubhub. If you're in attendance here, don't forget to order your food from the seats. You can use the Grubhub Seatback QR code. It's right there for you, and no fees are applied. You can also order the QR code on your screen if you're watching at home. Get you some grub. I did that last night from Grubhub. One thing that I'm kind of shocked to see here is they don't release starting lineups during the regular season, but we do know who is not going to play.
Playing,
I mean, Montez Sweat not going to play. Deron Payne not going to play. Jay Allen not going to play. Chase Young is out. Kendall Fuller is out. Benjamin St. Juste. So this is a chance for those young pups to step up.
I mean, you thought that this game, because the way they changed things around with the preseason, only 3 games, this is normally that dress rehearsal game. I think with that joint practice, the coaches saw enough. So the coaches say, look, we don't need to see our guys anymore. They went out there and won those 2 days up there in Baltimore. Let's allow these other guys who are, you know, the 2s and the 3s and the guys on the bubble have 2 weeks to really have a chance to make the team. So I didn't want to see this.
Yes.
I was looking forward to see our guys go out there and do their thing at least for a quarter or a half. But it's great to know it, and now to kind of retrain my thought.
Right. Reset the expectations a little bit as to what you're going to see tonight. So this is something we touched on earlier, which is this is a head coach saying, I don't want anybody getting injured. I've seen enough from these guys. So now, if you're trying to make the team, this is going to be your shot tonight.
Yeah, you know, I'm big on this plan. I don't get, you know, you don't want to think it. You know, I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to speak it into existence. I'm going to think positively and go out there and do what I do. You're a football player. You know, I heard B. Mitch talk about this earlier today. Just go out there and play. Don't always hang that over the guy's head, say, I don't want to get any guy hurt. Because guess what? That's when it normally happens, because you're hanging it over these guys' head. But that's Ron's way of doing things. So I'm not against what Ron says he wants done from his players. He's the boss. He calls the shot. So he said it, and he done it.
Are you surprised, though, that it's this? It's one thing to say, I got a couple guys I've seen enough, but this is the majority of the defense.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but then again, I understand why. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, that joint practice was very meaningful. They got a lot out of that joint practice. If you heard, I wasn't out there, but I heard a lot from just watching certain things on social, network outlets, Twitter. You know, when I read about some of the things that was going on, you saw a couple of the fights. Those teams got after it. And, you know, I'm proud to say that the Commanders went out there and showed, not just the Ravens, but everyone who's up there watching, that we're a team to reckon with. So I think that's why the coaches are doing this and saying, hey, let me sit my guys, because they went out there and handled business, and those 2 joint practices I don't need to see anymore.
And one thing you have to be encouraged about is that the Ravens are an organization for a long time. This is a well-run franchise. They're always physical. They're always tough. John Harbaugh's been around for a long time, and the Commanders held their own and more.
Yeah, and that's big, because sad to say, that hasn't been us in the past, and that lets you know that this is something new. And I'm loving everything about the energy I feel from this team from top to bottom. So if we go out there and show our stuff in practice, and that carries over, and the young guys come out here and play in the game like they did in the first game, that shows you this team is not the same team, and we shouldn't come into this season with that same old mindset. Let's get it out of our way now. Let's go ahead and put that stuff behind us, because I think a lot of times these fans bring over bad stuff and then they expect to see something great. It's impossible, you know?
So we're getting ready for tonight's game, coming to the top of the hour on ESPN, Monday Night Football. We're going to be here after the game. But give me one key. Could be offense, could be defense, could be a player. Give me one thing you want to see tonight.
Well, I got 3 of them.
Oh, let's go 3.
I knew you was going to ask me, so I got 3.
Okay.
I say offensively, we need to move the chains. I think when you're moving the chains, you set yourself up to score one way or another, whether the field goal or a touchdown. Defensively, create turnovers. This defense, if you're going to be about creating turnovers, we're going to do it now. It starts in the preseason. Last week we had 2 of them. Let's let that lead over into this game. You have to create turnovers to be a special defense. And then score any means necessary by any way you can. I don't care if it's special teams, offensively, defensively, score the ball. And I think when you start doing it that way, that's when you hear yourself in those postseason talks and those championship talks. All the great teams that won championships, that saw postseason runs consecutively, they knew how to score the football, and that's what we have to get to, being able to score the ball special teams-wise, even when we're on defense, and definitely when we're on offense.
I'm ready for some football. I don't care who's playing. We got some live football tonight. Commanders and Ravens here at FedEx Field. Enjoy the game. And when we're done with the game, come right back and join us on Command Center Post-Game Live. We're going to be streaming on X, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you want to stream. We're going to be here for you with Ron Rivera talking live, the players talking live, all the highlights and game recap. And, of course, we're getting Santana Moss's opinion as well. I'm Michael Jenkins. Enjoy the game. Commanders and Ravens coming up in just minutes.